Yo, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at something that I'm pretty excited to take a look at, really. It's first time I've bought one of these in about 5 years, and it's a frame. As you know, I design my own frames, and ever since I started designing my own frames, I have never bought anybody else's. I take a look at what other people do, and most of the time it's all just completely bog standard, 2 bolts in the arm, 4 arms meeting in the middle, a top, middle and a bottom plate, all totally standard. It's only a couple of people that actually try to push the boundaries and use their imagination a bit to come up with new ideas. One of those frames that's come out recently when I saw it I thought, that's a good idea, and that's the Lumenier QAV-S. I really like the way it's been designed for the arms to meet together in the middle, and they've kind of used a similar idea to my Osiris design with the spine by using an extra piece of carbon to butt the arms up against. So yeah, when I saw it I was like, that looks a bit familiar. I doubt that they saw my design, and obviously I wouldn't get any credit for it anyway, but it was quite cool to see that it was along the same sort of lines as what I've gone down with my designs. So the person who designs the frames for Lumenier is a guy called Harrel. He is the guy who runs a website called Mini Quad Test Bench. He was doing motor testing back when I started almost 6 years ago now. He knows his stuff. He really knows his stuff. So I got a lot of respect for him. And a couple of years ago, when I decided to design my own motor and have it manufactured, Ryan was kind enough to do motor testing on my motor, and he did it all in the same way that he does the motor testing for all the big brands. So if you go to Mini Quad Test Bench, you'll see my motor on there up against all the big boys. So I got mad respect for him, and yeah, really appreciate him doing that for me. Joshua Bardwell, obviously you all know him. He was kind enough to check out the Osiris, and he must have been flying it for nearly a year now, because I saw that he took it to Rampage with him. It's really cool that he likes my frames, he likes my stuff. I got a lot of respect for him. When Joshua Bardwell announced that he wasn't going to use my frame as his ultimate freestyle frame, he also announced that he was going to team up with Lumenier and tweak the QAV-S and make it his own and release the QAV-S Joshua Bardwell edition. When I saw that they'd worked together on a frame, I figured it was a good opportunity for me to check out something that they'd done in return for them checking out what I'd done, basically. Obviously I've got a much smaller audience, so it's meaningless to them, but I thought it would be a nice thing for me to do. So yeah, first frame that I've bought in 5 years. So hopefully that means something, because yeah, I wouldn't have bought it unless I actually wanted it. Yeah, let's crack this box open. Okay, yeah, I've never bought one of these loot crate things before, but that seemed like it was the only way you could get one of these, at least on release. Yeah, I figured I'd get one. It's quite cool. You get a little you get like a light version of the FPV Dynamic book. That's pretty cool. I'll have a read of that later. Chuck that over there. Got the JB props. Purple. 5146, is it? 5147. Okay. 4 packs of props. That's pretty mint. Ah, cool. A tool. I like tools. Oh, sweet. Got a nice pair of tweezers. Ah, so they're reversed, so they kind of pinch you. See how you have to squeeze them in to open it? They're really good. They're really nice. That's even if the frame's that was worth me getting it, to be honest. Oh, cool. A purple t-shirt. Well, I've got to put it on now, haven't I, really? Not bad. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't think purple's really my colour. I don't know if I'll really wear it outside, but I might wear it around the house. Sorry, JB. Yeah. Okay, and there it is, the frame. Cool. Well, I've got to build it ready, so head over to the bench now and put it together. Right, guys. So down here on the bench now, and going to take a look at JB's frame. Okay, so first thing getting in here is sticker pack. Pretty cool, but yeah, I don't really use stickers, but I think some people really love stickers, so yeah. Oh, rip JB's motor. And then we have a little step-by-step instruction manual. Usually pretty damn handy, to be honest. I've done this for my frames as well. Just makes it really easy for people to put together. Shouldn't have to ask how to put it together. So yeah, it should be pretty straightforward. I've not seen one being put together properly. Okay, these are all individually packed, which I guess is nice. Little triangle pieces there. That's so much like the Osiris, it's ridiculous. Let me just open this a sec and show you what I mean. So that's the little triangle piece that you get in there, and that's the Osiris spine. Yeah, so you can see why I thought they were pretty similar. It's just that it uses it on a different axis. So yeah, it's quite funny to see. It's even the, oh wow, that's the same angle and everything. It's exactly the same. Rubber battery pad thing. I've never used these on any of my frames. Yeah, just never needed it. Used two straps. The straps always lock into the frame a bit so they don't slide around, and they hold the battery fine. They're usually rubberized, so, but it would be quite nice to see what it's like to use one, so I'll give that a go. Then we got the main parts. So yeah, so far, yeah, looking all nice and tidy. Pretty cool to have all those bolts separated, which is going to be handy because there's so many different types of them. Yeah, so we'll see, what do we actually need to build the frame. M3 by 12, M3 by 10, there are no M3 by 10. M3 by 12, M3 by 10. Okay. How does it even say to start with this? It doesn't really. It just kind of tells you the basics. Okay, it'll be pretty simple. I'm sure I can figure it out. So yeah, one thing I've noticed, these arms, like obviously to make it light, they've decided to make these arms pretty narrow. It's reasonably wide there. I mean, it's been tested by pilots and some people say that it's good. Johnny FPV's put his name on it. The carbon's nice and strong. A little bit thin there. Let's see how wide it is at that thinnest point. 9mm. I would say that my Osiris arms are as skinny as I could possibly make them, and at their most narrow point mine are 9.8mm wide. So yeah, obviously they're a lot wider at the bottom, and yeah, I haven't got much extra meat on the either side of the hole there anyway, so yeah, slightly narrower arm there. Absolutely no motor protection at all. I always think it's a good idea to add motor protection, something sticking out so that the motors don't take all the impact. So yeah, bit of an interesting choice there. Weird, funny shape here. Not entirely sure what the point of that is. Guess just to save a bit of weight, but then why wouldn't you cut in there as well? I don't know. Yeah, everyone designs their arms differently. It's an interesting design. Yeah, let's just see how it goes together. Okay, yeah, I think it goes together like that then. Yeah. That one on there like that. That one goes on the bottom. Standoffs in. Yeah. Right, yeah, those 25mm bolts they've included, they're pushing into the top plate. So they're absolutely useless. Why include? I have no idea what those are for. Okay. So yeah, no movement in the arms at all, which is as you would hope. Even without bolts going through that plate, it's all wedged in there nicely, so that's good. It was nice and stiff across there. I mean, yeah, it's a pretty tidy frame. Not the most roomy of frames. Air unit. Apparently you could get an air unit in there, but nah, I don't think so. Like, oh, no, not with these chunky standoffs on it, I don't think. Not bad, 108 grams. Yeah, that's less than I thought it would be actually. Felt a bit chunkier than that. With the battery pad. Like, yeah, do you really want to add 8 grams for that? Yeah, I guess you do. I mean, it's in there. So yeah, realistically it does need those on as well. So it says 115 grams with the pad, 121 grams. I wouldn't say it's lightweight. I think it certainly has to be under 100 grams for lightweight, but realistically it needs to be even lighter these days for lightweight. I think probably sub 90 grams is considered lightweight. Medium weight is this. Then like heavyweight is a lot of the other frames that are like 130, 140, 150. So yeah, pretty tidy frame. Quite looking forward to building that up. So yeah, I'll be back with my parts. Okay, so I've been looking over the parts that I'm going to be using for my build and seeing how they're all going to go together on this frame. One thing that sticks out from the start is that it's just a frame. It doesn't come with anything for mounting antennas, HD camera. Looked on the Lumenier site, there's no TPU options, there's no mounting options on there at all. So it's one of the reasons why I started designing frames in the first place, is that you'd buy a frame and as soon as you got it you'd have to start designing parts for it anyway to actually make it work with your components. and I just got sick of doing that, so I just ended up designing the entire frame, and all my frames come with all the TPU parts you could ever need. Relying on the community to design things and put them up on Thingiverse for you is really slack, in my opinion. If you're charging a premium price for a premium frame, you should at least offer all the parts required to build your frame. Yeah, a bit disappointed with that. But anyway, we move on. Luckily I can design my own parts, and I do have a 3D printer, so I'll be able to do what I need to make the frame work. So I'm going to be running an Acon 20x20 stack like I do in all my builds, and straight away you run into a small issue where the press nuts for the 30x30 stack, they collide with the little capacitors on each of the corners here, so I have to raise this ESC up enough, not just off the carbon but off these press nuts as well. So I've had to make these tiny little TPU, let's see if I can get that on camera, I've had to make these tiny little TPU washers to sit on the bottom of the stack just to raise my ESC up enough. And that, obviously this is a 20mm high stack, so you end up, by raising the ESC, you've got less room for your stack, for the flight controller. So I've also had to make some custom little TPU wedges just to get the perfect height, the perfect space between my ESC and flight controller, so that I've got just about enough room to put a nut on the end. And as you can see, those bolts, there's only just enough room above the top of those bolts for a LiPo strap to go through. The LiPo strap that came with the frame is really nice, but it's also about 3mm thick, so it's kind of useless for a 20mm high deck. Luckily my straps are a lot thinner, so they're gonna fit above those bolts, between those bolts and the carbon plate. Another thing, that's, you know, the top plate does nothing. There's no strap holes to put your strap through to keep it above the stack. A couple of little niggling points there to start with. The next one is, as I said earlier, it didn't seem like there was a lot of room between these standoffs for your stack. If I take this damaged ESC here and pop it on, you can see it fits, and there's room, it's not colliding, it's not fouling on these standoffs, but obviously this wire's got to go somewhere, so you think maybe you put it there, but then I'm going to want to put a Vista, and the Vista needs to go about there, so you're going to be squashing the cable up against that. There's no way I'm going to be able to get it to go out the side nicely, I don't think. So in my opinion there's no other way but to mount it sideways, so that way I can have this Vista cable, because you've got to remember this Vista cable's there, so if that's coming out the back you can't have this pushing into there because you're going to damage this. So I'm going to have mine coming out the side so that this can run cleanly up to the front. As for the capacitor, normally I've got enough room to run the capacitor just in between these two standoffs here, but as you can see this isn't wide enough to do that, and there's clearly not going to be enough room between the stack and the Vista to mount the capacitor there. So I'm probably going to have to try and drop it down in that gap there, you know, use some double-sided tape to kind of stick it in place and just have that cable coming round. Yeah, it's not going to be the most, definitely not the easiest of builds. It's going to be quite tight, and compact. I've got to fit a TBS tracer in there as well somewhere, which I'm thinking I'm going to stick on the side of one of these camera plates, and then just have an antenna coming out here and here. I'm not going to use the little Immortal T's that come with it because they're rubbish. There's almost no way of mounting them to a frame properly. I'm just going to use the some dipoles instead. Go old school and have them just come off the arms. I'll just show you these nice motors I've picked up. I'm going to try these for the first time. These are T-Motor Pacer V2s, 2207s. They are super smooth, no notch at all. So when I do black box on this frame, when I take it out for its maiden flight, it's going to do this frame a big favour in terms of showing frame resonance and noise picked up by the gyro. They're going to be a really nice option to try out. I'm hoping they work out good, but we'll see. I'm going to get this all built up, and you can come back and join me once it's all built, and I'll show you some nice close-ups of all the parts and show you how it all went together in the end. Okay, so the build is finished and it's all set up and tested, well, tested in beta flight. I just got to finish off putting the rest of it together and do a bit of a test hover. Managed to do the build pretty clean. Get a bit of a close up there for you. So I got a 35 volt 1000 UF capacitor tucked right down there and secured with double-sided foam tape. I've got my tracer antenna stuck to the side of this plate here, and the wire's nice and neatly tucked around there. I've actually run my ESC cable underneath the stack and then out the back and in there. So obviously I'm running the ESC sideways like that. Didn't have any red insulation tape, but I did find this really awful blue, so I put that on it because I know JB likes that style. This is a little, yeah, stack's nice and clean. It's going to be just about enough clearance for the strap, hopefully. Really do like these motors, super smooth. Yeah, they're going to be nice. So yeah, fine. Oh, and I designed and printed Hero 9 mount. So finish it off. Just gonna pop this top plate on. And I like the fact they've got a nice exit hole. They got a nice exit hole right there. So if I was running crossfire, I could have it coming up and going into the back, where I always have an Immortal T mount there. But not doing that this time. So I am switching over to tracer. I think it really makes a big difference. Whenever I fly my tracer quad, it feels nicer. Yeah, I probably could use the Lumenier strap, but the tight bastard's only included one. Yeah, there she goes. Finally got it done. I like to take my time with my build, so I spent the day messing around with the prints and stuff. They're getting so easy now with DJI and all plug. When you use a 4-in-1, you only got to solder the motors to the ESC and the receiver to the flight controller, and the other two bits you plug in. So it's always nice and easy. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that build. Just going to tighten everything down, stick some props on it, and then yeah, hover it tomorrow, and then hopefully if the weather's alright I'll take it out and put some packs through it and get some black box data. Yeah, I like it. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it or not, to be honest, because it just doesn't feel right flying someone else's frame after all this. It's more I wanted to see what it was like and get my own black box data on it so that I can compare it to my own frames, if I'm honest. So yeah, that's it for now. Right, see you in the maiden. Laters.